A lot of you guys were in love with, obsessed, with my last Squishmallow makeover. So I went on back to Five Below and grabbed some more Squishmallows. Just like last time, it's gonna be a no-sew plushie makeover. Absolutely no sewing will be involved today. I've seen a bunch of people out and about Squishmallow hunting, but I've never seen anyone making like little costumes or outfits for their Squishmallows. Little removable accessories for them. When I did my last customizing Squishmallow video, a lot of people were a little sad, a little butthurt, about the fact that I gave a makeover to a Squishmallow.
Boo-hoo.
I agree, they're beautiful, they're perfect as is. They're perfect. Perfect. How dare I give them a makeover? The audacity. I'm not doing anything permanent to them. I'm not cutting them open, I'm not painting on them. I would never, ever do anything to harm a Squishmallow. I'm just giving them costumes. The clothes are removable. It's gonna be okay. It's okay. Okay, so I secured some Squishmallows. Friend forever. These are like the Friends edition of Squishmallows.
You're my internet friends.
I'm honestly not a fan. I don't like having words on them. I much prefer but that's okay, because their costumes are gonna cover all that up anyways. This one's Regina the Corgi. Cute. And this thing's name is Cookie. I think it's supposed to be a pink flamingo. But anyways, I'm gonna start with Regina. She already looks a little wonky. Her face is slightly lopsided. Sick freak. Not too much I can change about that. Unfortunately, she's gonna have to live with that face forever. What a tragedy. Regina's costume is gonna be a little different from the costumes I've done in the past. Normally I like to make clothes for the Squishmallows so they can stay nice and soft and cuddly. I have different plans for Regina though. I've got something special for you. I got a box to stuff her in. She's a pretty good fit, though I might have to add some stuffing later on to keep her snug. I had to zoom out to fit everything into frames, so now my messy desk is exposed. Sorry about that. That's embarrassing.
My apologies.
I'm cutting out the sides of the box. I won't be needing those. They would just be blocking her view. Kinda like how my head is blocking your view. There. Easy. I'm not just closing her in the box. That's not the costume. I mean, it kinda is, but also not entirely. I don't want her to suffocate in there. So I'm cutting a little window for her to get some air. I'm trying to plan it just right so only her little messed up face is peeking through. That way we can all just pretend it's a cooler Squishmallow in there.
Oh my gosh.
That's hilarious.
Funny.
We want to hide as much of Regina as possible. Goodbye, Regina. I don't need you anymore. The rest of this costume will be made with a paper towel roll. I cut it up into a couple little rings. I only need 6 of them for my purposes. I want to close the rings on one side, so I tried creating little circles on cardboard to fit on top. I approximated the measurements, traced the rings, and then cut one out to size. Turns out I approximated wrong, since this doesn't fit at all. I then resorted to cutting up one of my poster papers, which is a good backup plan, should have actually been my original plan. This time I traced the outside of the ring to get a more accurate approximation. I then roughly cut it out, leaving plenty of space around the edge. I probably didn't even need to trace out a circle at this point, but whatever. I hot glued the lid to the top and then trimmed it down to size. I did that whole process 5 more times and ended up with something that looks like this mess.
That's okay.
I'm now bringing back Regina's prison and sticking the cylinders onto there. I don't think I mentioned this yet, but this is probably a good time to mention that I'm turning this into a Lego. A giant Lego costume. Wow. I figured Legos are super evil since you kinda step on them and they hurt a lot. You see what I'm getting at here? And I thought it's fine if it's not a cuddly, soft costume this time since, you know, since when are Legos soft or cuddly? Never. If you like cuddling Legos, this is for you. This one's for you. I think it's a creative idea, so, you know, A for effort.
Oh, don't say that. I think it looks like a perfect Lego.
I don't know why I felt the need to defend my idea. I'm just trying to space the cylinders around, making a real effort to have it at least loosely resemble a Lego.
I think it looks like a Lego.
Yeah, okay, well, as long as you think so. Alright, it's gonna be a red Lego. I feel like that's the stereotypical color for a Lego. I just went straight in with the paint. Bad idea. This is when I truly realized how important gesso is. I did several layers of red paint, but all the post office signage was still very visible. I just couldn't get it to leave. This took a long time, but it wouldn't have if I just started with gesso. Luckily, I learned my lesson early enough. I layered all the sides with some gesso before going in with red paint. I always wondered if gesso actually does anything. Does it really cut down on the layers and save you time? The answer is yes. It helped a lot. Eventually, I got to a point where it no longer looks like a post office box. I don't think you could even tell it was ever a post office box, except if you look inside. But you know, who does that? Regina's gonna be in this cell a long time, maybe even forever, so I wanted to make sure it was cozy. I have a ton of this like stuffing. I forget the reason why I got it. In all honesty, I'm less concerned about Regina's comfort and more concerned about her wobbling around in there. I wanted her to stay in place, especially so that her face is always peeking through the window slit. Now comes the hard part. I tried several different methods of sealing this thing closed without it looking like too much of an eyesore. Most of them I didn't show on camera. I was just too frustrated. Eventually I settled on just clear taping the sides. Not the most aesthetic choice, but it gets the job done. Oh yes. Exactly what I envisioned. I know it may not be your typical plushy kind of costume, but like I said, the idea just kinda popped into my head and I just had to try it. And you know, if you can get past the tape fiasco, I think it looks pretty cool. Alright, my next makeover candidate is Cookie. Khaki, she's khaki. To me, she looks a lot less like a flamingo and more like a blobfish with eyelashes and a cheap tattoo on her belly. So in my opinion, I think she's the perfect candidate for a makeover. I'm gonna be making some necessary adjustments to Cookie to make her more my style. I won't be needing that. First thing I'm gonna do to help Cookie achieve peak evil is make her a purple dress. The thing with these Squishmallows is that they're a very weird shape. They're really just a blob, so it's hard to make clothes for them. For her dress, I basically just folded the fabric in half and then in half again. This way, there's 4 layers of fabric. I cut out a cone sort of shape, which ended up not being a very neat cut, so I'm trying to fix that up. That's as good as it's gonna get. I also cut out a bigger cone shape. I'm not measuring anything, just like cutting whatever feels right, and then if I need to go back, I could just trim it some more. These scissors are supposed to be fabric scissors, but I was still having a hard time cutting fabric with them. What a shame. It's okay. I wanted to even things out a bit, so I decided to cut off a few more inches. I just wanted things to look nice and even. When I opened up the fabric though, things still weren't looking nice and even. Not even a little bit. I decided to put the dress on Cookie anyways. Turns out I cut the neck hole way too wide. I thought a wide neck would work best for her blob frame, but I guess I slightly overestimated my measurements. The dress just slides right off, which isn't supposed to happen. I'm sure I could make it work if I just make some more adjustments. I tried to even things out, make it more like a circle and less like whatever it is now. I tried it on her again. A little loose, but I'm sure she'll grow into it. I cut out some armholes in the sides, not being super precise, just kinda winging it. And then I thought, maybe the dress is too loose. You know what? Maybe I should do something about that. So I cut out the whole back. This is not how I imagined her dress to be. Clearly some things went wrong along the way, but it's fine because I can fix this. What Cookie needs is some more trimming, so I did a few more cuts here and there. Maybe I should just tie the dress in the back. The whole backside is airing out, but that's fine since flamingos don't normally wear clothes anyways. That actually worked out pretty well. The dress isn't bad. As good as it looks. I'm still not entirely happy with it, so I stuck to my original plan. This time around, the neck hole is just cut a little smaller, so things are fitting better. The edges tend to look a little rough, so I ended up tucking them in to make the dress look more finished. Alright, so far so good. It's a nice dress, and it's not falling off, so that's a plus. I have this polka dotted ribbon. I'm tying it around her waist to make the dress look more put together. Yep, that's not fooling anybody. Ultimately, I don't like the ribbon around her waist, so I do end up getting rid of it. But not until later, so you'll just have to tolerate it for now. Patience. So she has the dress and she has the polka dotted ribbon. Next thing this vampire needs is a cloak. Oh, by the way, that's what she's gonna be. A vampire. I took a piece of felt and added little triangle cutouts to the sides. I also trimmed a little off the top to make it look more like a collar. So that's gonna be her cape. I do wish it draped around her a little better, but this is fine too, just working with what I have. I added some pink sticky felt to the bottom of the cape. Give it some more color and dimension or whatever. I don't know. I then took a shoestring and tied it around her cape, even made a little bow to go with her whole look. The cape was way too long for her short physique, so I trimmed it down to size. I feel like right now she has a very caught off guard, deer in the headlights kind of look, so I tried toning that down with some eyebrows. Figured this might also make her look more evil too. And because she's a vampire, I gave her some fangs out of sticky felt, which ended up making her look a lot like a fat walrus. And I'm not entirely opposed to that. I like fat walruses. I ended up sticking her bow into her dress because it kept getting in the way. I do add another bow though. This one's for her hair, or I guess, the lack thereof. I'm pushing a safety pin through it so I can get it to stay on her bald head. I thought it would be cool to add this Jack Skellington head to the center of the bow. Give the bow a more creepy cute look. I made this Jack Skellington head in a things to do when you're bored video, and I just have a bunch of them, so I thought this would be a cool way to use it. I tried securing it in place, but it just kind of flops over. It is what it is. I finally got rid of the ribbon around her waist, and in its place I added a super simple string to tone down the look. So there's Khaki the bald pink walrus, and lopsided Regina, locked away where I never have to look at her again. Hope you enjoyed today's Squishmallow video. Making costumes is a specialty of mine. What can I say?
Click on the next video to never see a bald walrus ever again.